Boom, YouTube, man. We just shot an awesome video with my guy, Levi, man. You guys are going to enjoy this one. Hey, made a run at Bud's Class 289, I believe. Got his shoulder ripped off in a boat. And that was all she wrote, man. But now he's doing big things. Hope you enjoy this story. As always, if you like this one, smash the subscribe button. If you love this bad boy, share with your friends. We back rolling. We building champions for life. All right, brother, you from Shelton, Washington. You went to Shelton High School?
Hood Sport, Lake Cushman, real small community. Went to school on Skoke Indian Reservation at Hood Canal and went to Shelton High School, yeah.
How'd you do in wrestling, Levi?
I did pretty well. I was 4-year varsity team captain. I ended up getting knocked unconscious at sub-regionals my senior year, and that was it for me. They wouldn't let me wrestle after that. I had a bad concussion, but I went to regionals my sophomore and junior year, and yeah, did all right. Could have probably done better, but it is what it is.
Yeah. We all say that shit. I should have won state title as a sophomore, but I didn't have a state title room, so there was no chance.
I didn't start wrestling until my freshman year. I had cousins that were 3- and 4-time state champs over in West Virginia, so a family thing, and really enjoyed it and been doing combat sports pretty much my whole life, so wrestling was a logical next step when I got into high school.
So talk to me just how you ended up where you ended up, what we're talking about today. How did you get to end up, how'd you get to Buds? How'd you know about, I didn't know anything about SEALs. There was a dude in my wrestling room in high school that said he was going to be a SEAL. I used to laugh at him. I was like, oh, okay. He ended up not making it, but he ended up being a Navy diver. So did you know about SEALs in high school?
No, my dad was a Marine. Most of my family were Army or Marines. So I knew nothing about the SEALs. I went into, during the recession of 2007, 2008, I got laid off. I was a structural driller. I'm sure you saw the Malcolm drilling rigs around Washington, those big blue drill rigs. I worked for them. Very high attrition rate there too. Guys come out for a half a day and quit. It's tough.
Sounds like the shit I'm on right now.
Yeah, it was crazy to see that. And for me, it was like, man, I'm making $32 an hour. I was 19, 20 years old. It was tough, but you're constantly covered in grit and concrete. And so I went to join the Marine Corps. And at the time I had just gotten a few tattoos on my forearms, and the Marine Corps recruiter was like, no, sorry. We got this new policy where anything you can't cover up with the palm of your hand. I knew nothing about waivers. The Navy recruiter was literally right next door. I walked in there, saw the brochures for SEAL and SWIC. And actually at first I signed a contract for nuclear engineering.
Okay.
And when I tried to get out of that, they told me that I couldn't. The typical recruiter bullshit. They lied to me. And then I got Dive Motivator, got hooked up with him and started doing the PRTs and stuff and I scored pretty well on those. And so I ended up getting my contract. This was in 2008, late 2008 or 2009.
So talk to me real quick. Talk to me, because a lot of the people that watch my channel don't understand wrestling. They don't understand like how it prepares you to go in there and just crush special operations. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them sit there and they're like, oh man. And I'm like, look, you fucking wrestle. You got a lot of fucking reserves for grit and no food. So talk to me a little bit about how wrestling helped you out, train and get ready to go.
I think more than anything, it's a mentality thing. When you're 14 years old and you have to develop the discipline to make weight, for one thing, to deny yourself some of the things that most of 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds are out doing, having fun with their friends, going to movies, eating popcorn, eating crap food, and you're not able to do that. You develop a certain mindset, and I think that translates really well to the special warfare, special forces community. A lot of the guys that I went to Buds with were wrestlers or swimmers. Yeah, you develop a work ethic that very few other sports, I think, can help you develop. And that comes with the weight cutting, I think, too. I'd be up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, putting on a trash bag, going out and running to make weight. So again, when I started learning about the SEALs and what the training was like, I thought that's a natural progression. I've already done a lot of this stuff and it's fun. I enjoy doing it sometimes. Yeah, I think if there are younger viewers that are still in high school that maybe are thinking about joining a sport or something, I think wrestling, even if you're not great at it, would be something I would definitely recommend if you're thinking about joining the military and trying to serve in the higher echelons of our military forces.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I can't say it enough. I tell motherfuckers go wrestle all the time. They look at me. I had a dude hit me back, say it was too hard. I was like, fuck, okay. Good luck. Okay, so then you went to Navy. This is '09, middle of the war, shit's fucking rolling. And I'm sure Buds was tuned up because I had some cats in '08 that were there. I had a cat in '08 that was there for 2 years. Talk to me about how was boot camp?
I got way out of shape. I went in okay shape and my numbers weren't anything crazy, but
What were they? What were your numbers?
it's been 10 years, mind you, but my run times were really good. It's a mile and a half. So I was running sub 5-minute miles. So my run times were probably in the low 8s or high 7s. They were really good.
Yep.
Push-ups were probably in the 80s to 90s. Sit-ups were a little bit weaker than that, probably way above passing, but not into the hundreds or anything. And then pull-ups, I was probably at 15.
And what was your swimming?
My swim was probably my weakest. I was like in the low 10s, high 9s when I had never done a combat side stroke. It was pretty new to me. It got much better after pre-buds because I spent a lot of time in the water, obviously. But for me, it was probably low 10s, high 9s, somewhere around there. So they were all solid numbers, but nothing that was crazy.
Yeah, the run's pretty crazy. I tell everybody, if you under 8:30, like you should be coasting on every run in Buds.
I did too. I had no problem with the runs. I think when we did our PSTs at pre-buds, I think I ran a 26:10 for the 4 mile.
Yep.
And then once I got to Buds, I was several minutes under passing time every time. So even into phase and stuff.
Okay, so you get out of boot camp. Did you train like an animal between boot camp and pre-buds, or were you one of those guys that thought that pre-buds would get me ready to go to Buds, swimming twice a week and running 3 times a week?
When I was there, pre-buds was an ass kicker. We were swimming probably close to 4 miles a day, and most of that was in fins. And pre-buds really put us through it.
Yes.
But yeah, I was still working out outside of it. And this is when that pipeline was new. Yeah, pre-buds was great. I was getting paid to work out. It was awesome. I was in great shape. And when I say I got out of shape in basic, I still got my bonus for the PRT. They do a PRT, I think, at the second, third week of boot camp. And if you have the right numbers, they give you an advance on your bonus. So I did get that. But no, I went out and had fun. I went into Chicago, went drinking with my buddies, didn't really take it too seriously until, when I was during the weekdays, I was in bed early and working out, but not a whole lot of stuff on the weekends. I went out and had fun.
Yeah, and see, like I got my guys running 12, 15 miles on Saturdays because you guys don't do any long runs really, and at least now they're not, right? Like now, pre-buds is just, it ain't getting them ready. Like I tell people, like this shit is crazy, man. In the last 3 hell weeks, 600 people, started class. Just say 600. They had 35 people graduate in the last 3 classes total. Wow. They had a class of 9, a class of 12, and a class of 14. I don't know if those numbers add up to 35, but they're relatively close.
Close to it.
Yeah.
We had, our numbers were much higher than that. Like my original class 286 graduated, I don't know the exact number, but it was a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah, because you guys were in the middle of War One, but you guys also, that was that time period where they were trying to do all summer class. Like were you there when they were trying to do all summers? They had 5 classes between May and they try to get all the hell weeks in the middle of the summer. So like from, let's say April through September. Yeah,
that actually sounds about right. They were starting off one right after another, but we did have, my 286 was closer to a winter hell week. I think we went through hell week in November.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, they were pumping them out. And it was, I think our in-doc, we had, I don't even know how many people quit, but they said it was a record at the time because we were so sleep deprived. If we got 2 hours a night, 3 hours a night, we were actually lucky to get that. So we had a lot of guys, even the super studs that you wouldn't think would be gone in-doc. We're dropping out.
Yep, absolutely. So the attrition started at the very beginning.
But we had guys quitting in pre-buds, which I couldn't believe. I mean, I get it, but I'm sitting there going, we're getting paid to work out with professional athletes. We had Vikings football players come down working out with us. Our swim coach was an Olympic bronze medalist. We had Nike sponsored athletes. It was awesome. This was killer. We'd be in the weight room with the heavy metal pumping and lifting weights. It was like, this is badass. But some guys were still quitting. So
I interviewed a dude that quit in pre-buds. He just said he knew. He said he knew he couldn't keep up in pre-buds. He knew he wasn't going to make it. So he said instead of getting embarrassed and going out to SEAL training, he just quit. I said, fuck, I don't know about that. I'm on the other side. Let's get in shape. But I mean, You're talking to a dude that went to Buds and showed up 100% out of shape on a ship. So I can't say I did it any better, but I know I'd be whooping my ass now if I tried to tell myself, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Buds out of shape, so it'll be harder.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard it described really well. I think it's Rob O'Neill was on one of the podcasts, and he said it's like a nut punch. If you have 6 months to prepare, and at the end of the 6 months, you're going to get punched in the nuts, you don't punch yourself in the nuts every day. You prepare, but it's still going to suck.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know that.
Talk to me about just getting the Buds and how the kind of atmosphere changed as soon as you got there. Because I think a lot of people don't understand, man, like the stress in the atmosphere. If you ain't built for the life, you can't hide it. Like, you can't fucking hide in the corner from the real life fucking environment that you're in. And motherfuckers was going down range every day back then in 08.
Yeah. My OIC, when we got there, his brother was killed. He was a SEAL as well. And just right there, when we're getting ready to class up, you have somebody that I really respected, looked up to, that was an awesome guy. And his brother's a SEAL and his brother just died. So the reality really set in real quick that this isn't just fun and games. This is the guys who were there for the name of it. You could tell they were like, oh, this is real life. And yeah, it got real quick, but I wasn't really intimidated by it. Really, a lot of guys were, but reality sets in real quick that some people are, oh shit, what did I get myself into? Like I said, our pre-buds, or not pre-buds, our in-doc or orientation, it's 3 weeks long, and we had a bunch of dudes quit. We got very little sleep. It was actually really tough. We weren't expecting it to be tough, and it was. The actual evolutions weren't any tougher, I think, than previous classes, but just the fact that we were getting a lot less sleep. And then once phase kicked off, you really saw our XO quit on the first day. And this is you got a guy in leadership position. He's gone within the first couple hours. So
I had 4 people in front of me, officers, 2 lieutenants, 3 lieutenants, 1 JG, and then me. And week 2, I was in charge.
wow.
Now, none of those guys quit. They were all hurt. My one dude, the JG in front of me, lasted 8 seconds. Like, he lasted 8 seconds. They put him in charge, and then they put their arm around his shoulder and just walked off. He couldn't pass the dirty name to start with, but he was like, when they asked him for the muster and shit, and I was like, I knew it. Like, I knew he wasn't going to last, so I was ready. They're like, Mr. Zweig, you're the fucking OIC. Like, all right, here we go. But yeah, like, people don't get it, man. I got these kids that are signing up with college degrees, and I'm just like, you guys are fucking stupid, man. Like, this fucking place is, like, they had 9 people graduate from Hell Week. Hell Week. They had 30 people going into this last class, going into Hell Week. 10 of them got dropped for fucking myocarditis from the fucking shot, from the fucking COVID shot. 10 of them.
Wow.
Like, you sitting there getting ready to go to Hell Week on Saturday, and they fucking pull you and go into Hell Week with 20 fucking people. And like all these people, like I got a guy out there now. I got 2 guys out there actually right now. One of them's already gone. He lasted 4 days. He got a fucking Pepperdine degree. Come on, bud. What are you doing?
We had a guy from Princeton. We had a guy from Stanford. We had some guys that were just incredible. But I think 286 went in with 80 some odd people into Hell Week or more. It might have even been in the 100, like over 100. So the numbers to me, I really wonder what's going on. If it's a generational thing or what?
They said it was cold as shit. Like all 3 classes was cold as shit. But I'm going to tell you this, man. I'm seeing the transition. The break point right now is about 26. Kids younger than 26 are fucked up from social media and heavy video games. Like, I have video games, but I was on a fucking timer. My dad would let me play like maybe 30 minutes every other day. Yeah, go outside, fucking do shit. And it was just interesting because now, like Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, I tell everybody, I think my whole hypothesis on what's going on, these motherfuckers don't do shit. They just watch it. And so they think like you following OBJ, or let's say you following Arch Manning, right? Like the new football recruit. You actually start to believe that you fucking going to be the quarterback at Texas. And you can't even fucking throw a football. You know what I'm saying? And so you have all this like projecting on the viewer's part. And then like when it really comes time to get it, they got no substance to get it with.
Without realizing the amount of work that it takes to do some of these things. And it's a instant gratification thing, I think. They're so used to being able to get what they want almost immediately that they don't realize with something like this, and I hope to God they don't ever lower the standards.
They won't. I tell people this, Levi. It's not that they want to lower the standards or they can lower the standards. I tell people this, and having been out there, man, in the community, if you lower the standards at Buds, the only thing that's going to result, you're going to have more people die in the teams. Because everything at Buds is kindergarten. Everything, man. Like, night swims at Buds are kindergarten. You get in the teams, you got fucking no like flotation on. Night swims, you fucking drown. Your IBF surf passage in the teams is fucking real. Dude broke his neck at my team and fucking died, right? Free fall, parachute. I ain't said a single bit of combat. I'm talking about just everyday life in the teams. If you can't make it through Buds, the minimum of Buds, then you're gonna die. That's the thing that the job is so fucking crazy, and there's so many times that you're hung out in the wind against Mother Nature that if you can't swim, you ain't comfortable on a dive rig, like all the shit from being there, like motherfuckers are like, man, why is this so hard? Like I used to hear that shit. I'd be like, what are you fucking talking about, man? Then you get to the SEAL team, you're like, yo, that shit was fucking, you was eating baby food, brother.
And we were constantly reminded of that at Buds, and I went in at 23 years old, but I was a very old 23. I had already seen a lot in my life. I'd traveled a lot. I'd worked real jobs. I'd had almost a whole life before the military as an adult, was out on my own at a young age. Mentality-wise, I was a little bit ahead of a lot of the guys, especially guys that were 17 years old, 18 years old. These were, to me, they were kids. And granted, they're only 5 years younger than me, but they seemed like they were a lot younger than me.
So you worked the track that I love, right? You were out fucking getting it for 3, 4, 5 years, and then you went to Buds. Do you think that really helped you out as far as?
Yeah, it was preparing me for Buds, and I didn't realize it at the time because I had no idea that when I got into SEAL training, everybody had read Lone Survivor and watched 2, 3, 4 and all this, and I'd never read any of it, seen any of it, nothing. But I did feel like I was prepared just from being out there working tough jobs that nobody else wanted to work.
Yep.
Being an adult at a young age. I had a really crazy upbringing, so that definitely played into it as well. But yeah, I think going in at 17, 18 years old and not knowing really your asshole from your elbow, it's not going to be conducive to, I guess, high passage rates at Buds.
It's less than 1%.
I believe it.
High school, 18-year-old, less than 1% to graduate from Buds.
And I understand the physical part of it because even for injury-wise, you can bounce back a lot quicker. Working for 6 years before I joined the military, that was just working with the union. I had already banged my body up. I already had some lingering injuries and stuff. So as an 18-year-old, I could see where that would be definitely an advantage. But as I think Buds is 90% mental.
It's fucking 99% mental.
Yeah, and then the rest is just avoiding injury and
being smart, running at 90%, not moving around at 100%, and using all your reserves. Okay, so talk to me. So how far did you get? Let me ask that question, and I can curb my questions from there.
Yeah, in total, I ended up getting dropped the Friday before Hell Week in my last class. But in 286, I think it was the second day of the second week of first phase.
Okay.
We were doing, so I guess I can go into my injury. Up until that point, I hadn't failed a single evolution, and I was just a kind of middle of the pack guy when it came to numbers. Wasn't a super stud or anything unless we were talking about running. So yeah, I just kept my head down, found my crew. Everybody wanted me in their boat crew because I put out like crazy. And I had been lifting weights for a long time. I wasn't a super jack guy, but I had some strength. And what ended up happening is we were doing surf passage, huge waves that day. I was in the front of the boat. We went into a wave, and while we were in it, it capsized. It rolled while we were inside of it and bent our boat in half. And my best buddy, he's actually still in the teams now, he was leaned up against me to where I couldn't move backwards. And so my shoulder took the brunt and did this whole number. And I broke my shoulder, tore my labrum in half, and tore my bicep tendon and my rotator cuff all in the same injury. And then I didn't know it at the time, but I also herniated a disc in my neck, C6, C7. And so I'm started losing feeling in both my hands. And anyways, I got up, went in, talked to the instructor, and was like, I knew right away my arm was broken. I told my buddy, I was like, I heard it. I heard everything, and it was nasty. And so I went in and talked to the instructor, and he was going to let me go back out with the boat crew. And so I started to head back out, and the corpsman, who wasn't a SEAL, he was just the class corpsman that was there. He came over and checked me out and was like, no, you need to go to medical. And long story short, ended up having to have pretty major surgery on that. They didn't want to give me an MRI at first. I'm sure you know how Bud's medical works. So, yeah. Eat some Motrin, drink some water, you'll be all right. I went 2 months in PTRR just doing physical therapy on a broken shoulder. And then finally I told the doctor, I was like, listen, like my shoulder feels like it's rotting. Like you guys got to get an MRI. And so they did and came back, and the doctor's exact words, I'll never forget till the day I die, were, we're really sorry, but you destroyed your shoulder. And basically I was given the option at that point, if you want to ever have kids and throw a baseball to your son, you need to have surgery. But if you have surgery, we're going to probably drop you.
Yep.
And so I had a lot to think about. I was single at the time, didn't have kids. So I was really torn, but I'm like, can I really get through it with my arm like this? And so I told him, I said, let's have the surgery. And I was very well liked with my class. My officers liked me, my class liked me. So they actually kept me after the surgery, which was huge.
So did you have 6, 8, 9 months recovery time? What'd they end up giving you?
They gave me about 6 months from the surgery on. I had surgery.
So a lot of times if they love you, Levi, they send you somewhere, right? Like they used to send you to Panama a lot. Like they would send you down to Panama to the unit for fucking 2 years to get your shit back in order. But they just left you in buds for 6, 7 months?
I think total at that point it was like closer to 8 months. And then 286 to 291, that's 5 classes.
Yeah. So that's a year.
There's about a year. When I finally classed back up, it was with 291. And I just kept having problems with my shoulder. The Friday before Hell Week, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go into medical and get it checked out and just hopefully I can rest. I know it was in the morning. I was like, hopefully maybe I can rest for the next couple hours, get ready for Hell Week, and it'll hold up. And they examined me, and I was mid-dropped, I think, like a couple days later on Monday or Tuesday. So
did you get a fat little VA deal out of it?
I did.
Okay. All right, solid. That's all I care about. You ain't got to say no more. Fuck it. As long as you got a fat little VA deal out of it, I'm good.
The best thing about that was they paid for my schooling.
Okay. So post 9/11 GI Bill.
I did Voc rehab. Yep.
Okay, so you did Voc rehab. I did Voc rehab also. So let's talk about that psychology of what kind of transpired and just where you at, and because that's the thing. I started doing these by accident because the kid from Tennessee hit me up, the captain of the Tennessee swim team. He was like, hey man, I'm willing to share my story. And that literally was unicorn, right? The holy grail. I had been saying like captains of swim teams, like they showed the buds and they fucking quit. And then it was the psychology of kind of what happened that made, like I got probably 300 emails in the next month and a half from guys saying, man, I can't go to buds. Like I thought I could go to buds, but after watching that video, like I'm not even close to being ready. And I'll always ask the same question, what are you running swim times? And then one kid said, yo, I'm swimming 11-minute 500 and they're telling me I got a chance. And I was just like, hey man, there's no way, bro. But that's why I want to just get into your psychology. You go into medical, your shoulder's all fucked up. The ending to the story. If you have that bad of a shoulder injury, there's no way you're going to fucking make it. Your shoulders and your hips, if they're fucked up, bro, you can't hide those motherfuckers at bud.
Yep. Geez, I dislocated my shoulder taking a bite of food. It got so bad, even at post-surgery, my second surgery, after they examined me right before Hell Week, I had to go have another surgery. I had several of the original anchors that they put in had torn out because I pushed myself through the physical therapy way too fast. That's a 2-year healing thing when you have something like my shoulder. It's like legitimately, I've talked to professional baseball players. They say that's a 2-year healing time. And they wanted to push me through in 6 months, 6, 7, 8 months. And so it was inevitable at that point. And it didn't really set it. After the first surgery, I was in PTRR, and I'm watching all my boys from basic and pre-buds that I got really tight with. I'm watching them go through, make it through. Of course, you're happy for them, but there's that envy and jealousy, and I'm pissed off and mad at the world. And why did this happen to me? And I know I have everything it takes to make it through. I'm better than that guy. He just made it through. I'm better than that. Whatever.
Yep.
So that starts to really eat at you. And I started drinking real heavily. I didn't work out. I think in the back of my mind, I knew with how bad my shoulder was, it was really not a great chance that I was going to make it through. So for a while, I went out We were done. PTR, that guy was saying they were done with 3. We were done at like 10 o'clock in the morning. We'd go over and do PT and be done. And then we'd be out at the beach or be out chasing tail or whatever.
Yep.
And that's what I did for quite a while. And then when I was getting ready to actually class back up, in the back of my mind, I kept thinking they're probably going to drop me.
You didn't have any problems with, you didn't have no problems with your shoulders on the O course or fucking?
Never on the O course. No, but I saw a lot of people did. And the one place I saw is when you come up through the tower and you jump through that little square hole and then you put your arms up like this and heave yourself up. A bunch of people dislocate their shoulders doing that. And then that one dude said he hurt himself on the dirty name. I didn't really see anybody, but it could happen anywhere, really.
We had a fucking little twig motherfucker lawn dart off the fucking Slide for Life back when they didn't have the sand underneath it.
Oh my God.
3 times this motherfucker fell off the Slide for Life and then they dropped him. I'm like, yo, the motherfucker just fell from 30 feet, landed on his fucking head in the sand.
I think they were real hesitant to drop people when I was there for some reason. And then while I was there, they had one scandal, which involved steroids. And then they brought everybody in from day one, all the team guys, they brought everybody in for that. And so that kind of changed things a little bit. And then they had this rule where you do not get more than 1 rollback. You get 1 rollback and you're done.
Yeah.
Because there were guys like me that hung out there for way longer than I probably should have been there. Yeah, psychologically, it's a total mindfuck to be in that position. And so when I classed back up, I was gung-ho. I was like, let's just do this. Let's get it done before my shoulder fails me again. And obviously it didn't work out. But
and how'd you do? Did you start drinking after you got done and knew you were done? You start drinking again?
Yeah, when I got dropped, what they do, it's really demoralizing. And I know they probably don't do it on purpose, but they put you in those blueberries, which they probably didn't even have those when you were back in Buds, but they have those digital blues. And so when you get dropped, when you get dropped, you've been wearing BDUs for the last however many months. And then all your buddies see you and I'm in a sling in my blueberries. And then they know that you've been dropped from the program.
Yep.
And so it sucks.
Yeah, and they move you to the Bayside too. Did you move over to Bayside? Yep. So you in there with a bunch of fucking dudes that quit and fucking dropped, and you like, yo, I'm not one of these motherfuckers.
Yep, that's exactly what it felt like too. And I'm not better than anybody. I don't think I'm better than anybody, but in the back of my mind, I just knew that it was a freak accident. It was one of these things that just happens, and it sucked. It bummed me out pretty bad. But I actually got a job working for Third Phase as their supply guy. Okay. And so this was after I got dropped from the program, and I ended up being really good friends with one of the Third Phase instructors, a couple of them actually. Like I said, I was a little bit older, a little bit more mature, so I'd go out drinking with these guys. Totally fraternization. Probably shouldn't have been doing it, but...
No, you fucking enlisted, they enlisted. It don't fucking matter. True. They're 23 too, right? A motherfucking E5 in the Navy is 22, 23 years old.
Yeah, these guys were like, one of them was an E1. So he'd been in for a while. He's a SEAL. I think he's out now, but he had a Harley and I had a Harley. And so we started riding together, drinking together. And so I thought in the back of my mind, like, maybe if I can get in with them and maybe get some letters from some people. And anyways, long story short, I didn't take it seriously. I knew. And at that point, I was so burnt out, like, I just gave up. That was my version of quitting. In a way, I think I probably could have tried to pull some strings. And
let's be honest, Levi, what's the chance of your shoulder holding up?
Probably not very good.
Like now, you a grown-ass man now, right? That's 14 years ago. Your shoulder probably giving you a ton of shit now. Like, bro, you're not going to make it, man. Like, it just ain't fucking possible.
Yeah, and so I guess I had some delusions of grandeur. I put in a blue to green packet before the second surgery, and that was like looking like it was going to be good to go. And that was ultimately denied after they found out about the second surgery.
Yeah.
And then the neck thing. I ended up going through a med board, and they denied it at first after my first surgery. And this is when I had the second surgery pending.
Yeah.
And I could not believe they denied it. I was like in shock.
Yeah.
And so I went to one of the chiefs. She was, I don't even really know exactly who she was, but she was on some kind of administrative side, and she was on the Buds base. And when I told her I'd been there for 2 years, she was like in shock, and they just gave me an early release under medical circumstances. And then I went and put in my VA stuff.
So you didn't get medically retired?
No.
Wow, you should have fought that. You might still be able to fight that.
About it, but I'm at 60% with the VA, and all my paperwork was pretty much done because I had gone through the denied med board. Yeah, which I still can't believe. I'm a lawyer now, and I've worked with some veteran stuff, and some of this stuff is totally fucked up, man. But
yeah, absolutely. It got better when who was after Obama?
Trump.
Nah, because Trump was recent. I think when Obama got in, 01, 11, and 12, it started to get good. Because the war had been going on so long that they weren't fucking giving services, that motherfuckers started getting their chains pulled. And so then they started giving services and it got a lot better.
My experience with the VA wasn't terrible. It was actually pretty quick, but there was some guilt there too, knowing I'm not a combat veteran. What am I doing going to the VA? But I was legitimately fucked up. So
you know what I'm going to say, Levi? I said the same thing until they wanted to replace both my shoulders at 40 years old. And then I was like, fuck you, give me all my fucking money. Dude, they tried to replace both my shoulders, man. And my dudes in the teams that had their shoulders replaced were like the worst thing in the world. And I'm like, fuck that. Yeah, I'll make sure you hit me up. I'll shoot you. I got stem cells. And it fixed my shoulders. Fixed them well enough that they're still on my body. I'm still using them. So I'll shoot you that, because at some point you're going to need to get shot up with stem cells just to keep all the arthritis and all the fucking ligaments and tendons and the labrum, all that shit somewhat healthy, because you're still relatively young.
Yeah, I'm only 35, but I've already got arthritis in it. So
yeah, but you go get a stem cell shot, it'll fix a whole shoulder. Like I had arthritis, bone on bone, all of it is all fixed now. Now I can't get crazy and go fucking yard on my shoulders, but I'm fucking doing pretty good. So you got your degree. Where'd you go to get your degree at?
I went to Brandman University. It's a predominantly military and veteran school. They're based out of Irvine, California. I went in Lacey, Washington, and then took a break. I've been a tattoo artist for the last 10 years. When I got out of the military, started tattooing, did that all the way through my bachelor's degree, and then I went to Montana State University of Montana and got my Juris Doctorate degree. Just graduated from there a month ago.
All right, let's fucking go. Like, bro, I tell motherfuckers, man, if you a high achiever motherfucker and you fail something, like, bro, give it a couple years. That shit's in the past. It's in the rearview mirror.
Yep. Something I had to do was I couldn't sit around and do nothing. It would have haunted me. It probably would have drove me crazy, man, to be honest with you, because I just had never really failed at anything in life before. I was that guy who always pulled through and won. And so failing something that meant a lot to me was really tough. And if you don't find something to replace it, and something where you put your energy in a place where, for me, it's where I think God would want me to put it, what I'm good at, where I can still serve my community, I can serve the greater good. And so, yeah, I put my head down and did that. And I'm really happy that I did, because if you don't find something, you can drive yourself nuts.
Now, what are you going to be doing with your law degree?
So right now I'm a deputy prosecutor for Lincoln County, Montana.
Oh, you in Montana now? Yeah. You one of the folks that have vacated Washington State with the Schraders. So my boys, the Schraders, they're building a big ass compound in Montana right now, supposedly. One of them's in Wyoming, but they're like, fuck this, we out of Washington.
Yep, and that's where we were, man. It just started passing these silly ass gun laws, and we had to get out of there.
Yeah, I know. I got a house in Stilcombe still with my mom, and my dude, the Schraders, own a fucking mountaintop in Ording, and they're just like, yo, like, we got to get the fuck out of here. Like, I live in Texas now. Shit, we got no carry laws. Like, I tell everybody, you better keep your mouth shut in Texas, because you will get shot quick. Shoot. What else, man? What else you want to hit for the good of the order, man? Anything else, like any other pearls of wisdom as a guy that went to SEAL training, wasn't necessarily successful there, but has literally just fucking shit stomped the world since then?
Yeah, for sure, man. I would say there are some things I would have done differently. I don't know if it would have made a difference. One of the things was obviously flexibility. Obviously, some of the injuries are unavoidable there, but I never had problems with stress fractures or anything like that. But yeah, definitely stretch. As stupid as it might sound, yoga, Pilates, some of that stuff, not a terrible idea. The other thing I would say is I went out on the weekends and I partied. I did that rock star shit before I was a rock star. And like I said, I don't know if it would have made a difference, but it could have. A lot of my buddies that I went out and party with, they're in the team, so they were able to do it. But some people can, some people can't. If I had it over to do again, I probably wouldn't roll the dice. I probably would stay home, rest up. You can do that. There's time for that after you make it through.
Wow. Super somber, man. Yo, shout out to Levi, district attorney over there in Montana, just killing it, man. Hey, long journey, long trials, Washington State, boy. Get that Shelton, Washington, right across the water from my house, man. I forgot to ask him if he went over to the prison and got oysters or not. But anyway, man, as always, you know what we building around here. Send your comments in, put them in the likes, do all that good stuff. That didn't make no sense, but that's what we do on this channel sometimes. We build champions for life.